And for business part, what I said, for business, we no need to extend any API, or we don't need to implement any API. Simple Java classes are enough for business. But to provide security or transactions, your business, it may have dependency of services. So business part, it may have dependency of services, dependencies, your business class dependencies. Business class, it may have dependencies of services. Okay, one more main dependency it have. To talk with database, business class need to talk with DAO class. So first, business class is having main dependency. It is having dependency of DAO class. Business is having main dependency, DAO dependency. It need to have DAO object here to talk with DAO class. To talk with database, DAO required connection pool. To talk with database, business requires DAO class. And business, it may have dependencies of services. It may have dependency of transaction. It may have dependency of security. It may have dependency of mail service. It may have dependency of quality services. So on. It may require services like transaction securities. And business, it may have dependency like DAO class. And the controller need to talk with whom? It need to talk with business. So controller, it may have dependency of business. The main dependencies for controller classes, business classes. So by taking business as a dependent parameter in controller can talk with business. By taking DAO as a dependent parameter in business can talk with DAOs. Finally, DAOs, by taking connection pool references, they will talk with databases. So your controller classes or business classes or DAO classes, they may have these types of dependencies. These all dependencies through XML file you can pass to your classes. These all dependencies, by using Spring XML file, you can supply to your POSO classes. Just you have to use here simple POSO classes. Here we have to use simple POSO classes. Into that POSO classes, you can supply all these. You can supply all these through your XML files. Into controller POSOs or business POSOs or DAO POSOs. You can supply inputs from IOC. IOC, from where it will read? From XML document it will read data. That same data it will supply to your POSO classes. By using your Spring IOC containers, you can supply all the required inputs to complete MVC classes. So which types of inputs they may require? If it is a DAO, it may have these types of inputs. If it is a business, it may require these types of inputs. If it is a controller, it may require business input. So that types of dependencies, any types of dependency, I mean here which type of dependencies we have? If it is a drivers information, we need to pass in the form of strings. If it is a connection pool is a class. Connection pool implementation class name is what? The connection pool interface name. It is data source, right? It's a class. So by using IOC, which type of data we can supply to our POSO classes? It can be any type. Drivers information is simple string type, and that connection pool object is secondary type. Any type of data you can supply by using your IOC containers. By using your IOC containers to the dependent classes, you can pass any type of data by using dependency injection. Dependency injection definition, simple definition for dependency injection: passing required parameters to POSO classes from XML. Passing required parameters from XML file to POSO classes. If you have a class here, like DAO class, in this DAO class, if you have dependency of drivers, like drivers dependency if you have here, that drivers you can pass through your XML document. From your Spring XML document, you can pass drivers, driver class, URL, username, password. All these we can configure under Spring XML file, and IOC container, your IOC container will read this document, and that document data it can supply to your class. It can pass the data into your class as an input. So finally, by using IOC, what we can do, at runtime we can pass some arguments to your classes, like it will behave like scanner, but data from where it will read? From XML document. From XML document it will read data, and that data, same data it will supply to your bean classes. Yeah, for doing this dependency injections, to pass this data from XML file document to your class it need to have setter methods or either constructor. Your class to take input from IOC, to receive input from IOC, to receive these inputs from IOC, your DO class either it need to have setter method or parameterized constructors. So here it need to have setter method. Here it need to have a setter method, or else it need to have a parameterized constructor to take inputs from IOC container. To take inputs from IOC container, your class it may require setters or constructors. So if your class, if it contains a setter method or if it contains a constructor, by using setter method or by using constructor, we can supply inputs to DO classes. There are two types of dependency injections, setter and constructors. Have you heard anything else? Only two types of dependency injections we have. There are two types of dependency injections. We have two types of dependency injections. Two types of dependency injections we have. One is setter and one is constructor. By using setter methods we can inject, and as well as by using parameterized constructors also we can inject. In Spring documentation they given one more type dependency injection, interface dependency injection. Actually it is not possible. In interface dependency injection also internally it will use setter dependency injection again. Okay, if you read some books, in that books you can find one more type dependency injection, interface dependency injection. Actually it is not possible. Only there are two types of dependency injection, setter and constructor. If you want to pass data to a class either through setter method or either through parameterized constructor only, we can able to pass. Into interfaces or by using interfaces you can't able to supply data to class. Okay, so there are two types of dependency injection, setter and constructor. By using setter you can inject data, and as well as by using constructor also you can inject data. I'll show you one simple example. I have a class test, and in this class I have one method, public void hello. In this hello I have one input, string name. It need to print system.out.println hello. plus I want to say Mr. or Miss. Along with name, hello Mr. or Miss. It depends on user I want to say. So depends on user, I want to say Mr. or Miss here. Okay. Hello something, Mr. or Miss. Hello gender. Plus name also I want to print here. That gender data I want to pass through XML file, and actually name need to pass through the user, right? User need to pass his name input. This gender input just I want to pass through Spring XML file. So here I'll take one input parameter. Yeah, here I'll take one class instance level variable, private string gender, and write here one setter method, set gender string gender. This dot gender equal to gender. Public void setter method. Yeah, through XML document. Now you can supply this input, gender input from your XML document. By using this setter method you can pass. How you can pass? In between beans and beans, create a bean ID, T class name, test class. In between bean and bean, to call setter method, here they given one child tag, property name equal to gender, and you can pass that name value here. Property name equal to gender and value something Mr. or Miss I want to pass from here. Then load it into IOC container, call getBean method, getBean of T. Which reference it will return? It will create one test class object. By using which constructor it will create test class object? By using default constructor it will create object. While creating through default constructor, the gender value what it will store here? Gender value null it will store. After reading this property, it will call a setter method, set gender method. By calling this set gender method, it will pass this Mr.'s value into this setter method, and this value again it will assign into class instance level variable. Then that null it will make it Mr.'s, and that object reference name is what? T. That object reference name is T. So by using that reference, whenever you try to call getBean, which object it will return? That test class object only it will return to us. That same test class object it will return. After getting that test class object, by using this test class reference, if you call hello method, into hello method we should pass name, string name we have to pass Durga. Then what it will print? Hello, gender value is Mr. Hello Mr. plus name is Durga. It will print hello Mr. Durga here. Simple dependency injection. Yeah, you can write from here. Create a simple Java project. Dependency injection. A sample for dependency injection. Add a library here. Create a package beans. and write a class test class, and here in this test class take one input private string gender, and write one setter method for that gender, set gender, and write public void hello with string name. Just in this hello method I want to print hello plus gender plus name. So this name is a method input, right? So method inputs who need to pass? Method inputs need to pass by user, and this input from XML file just I want to pass. Gender input through XML file we have to pass, name input user need to pass. So create one XML document here. Create bean test class t class name test. Yeah, it is beans.test. In this test class we have one setter method. Setter methods we need to call by using property tag. Property and the setter method name is what? Set gender, and which property it is taking input? Gender input. So use this property name here. Then it will call that setter method. Into that setter method if you want to pass any value here, you can pass that value. Missed us. So from here what we are doing, just we are calling a setter method. Into that setter method we are passing input from here and load it into container and get bean of test class. Then you can call t dot hello. Then what it will print? User input is Durga and that XML input is Mr. By taking these two inputs, hello Mr. Durga. So in case, just convey the same example to database example. In case of database example, instead of hello method if you have a save method here. In save method, if user pass inputs like integer ID, string name, email address. To pass that user inputs to database, we require drivers information. Drivers information is similar like your gender here. So the drivers information we need to pass through XML file, and that method inputs need to pass by user. Okay, method inputs we need to take from user, and if you required any inputs to execute all the methods, that inputs you need to take from XML file. Okay, so this is what actually dependency injection. So by using this dependency injection, we can able to inject any type of data. By using dependency injection, any type of data you can inject into your bean classes. So which types of data we can inject means any type of data. So how many types we have? Yeah, what are those? Types of data. One is primitive and one is secondary, right? Only these two types we have, primitives and secondaries. Primitive types data we can inject, to secondary types data we can inject. Primitive arrays we can inject, primitive arrays also we have, right? Primitive type arrays we can inject, primitive arrays we can inject, secondary arrays also we can inject. Secondary type arrays also we can inject. In the same way we have complex data types like collections we have, right? So you can inject collections also here. Collections also you can inject. So a class it can have any primitive type dependency, a class it can have secondary type arrays dependency, and class can have collections type dependencies also. Means your class it can have any type of dependency. It can have any type of dependency, that all types you can able to pass through XML document. From XML file itself, you can able to pass any type of data. You can pass primitives, secondaries, and all these. To take these inputs, only we have two ways. Those two ways are setters and constructors. That primitive types data or secondary types data, any type of data we can accept through setter method or through constructors. Through setter methods or through constructors we can take.